Oh, is this recording? We'll go with yes. Dear Hannah, hello, hi, hi. So I read the book, listened to the book. I'm lying. I had issues. And I had some thoughts, and I made a video. Well, I haven't yet. I'm about to. I had 18 pages of notes I'd taken. I didn't really like it. I thought it was like 85% memoir autobiography. Here's what I did, and here are the trials and tribulations I had, and 15%. This is how you can be better. And here's how it sucks and it's tough, and this is how you should be, but not really how to get there. If you want some of my tidbits and comments, they're here, and if not, that's cool too. So thanks for looking at my video. Oh yeah. So part that says resistance and fear. Are you paralyzed with fear? That's a good sign. What? I've been paralyzed with fear this entire time. Resistance and being a star. Grandiose fantasies are a symptom of resistance. They're the sign of an amateur. The professional has learned that success, like happiness, comes as a byproduct of work. Turns out I'm an amateur. You know what? When you're working on something, you're working really hard, and you're like, I think if you have a fantasy about how your project will go, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you're like, I've slaved away for a couple years, I hope, I get a publication out of this, or I hope people think it's cool. I mean, I realize that's a sign of an amateur, but I don't think it's bad. First of all, I don't think we can control it. I don't think we can control whether or not we have aspirations or grandiose fantasies. Anyways, trying to say, if you have thoughts and feelings of an amateur, that's fine. Frig, who is anyone to tell you that it's not? That's... Okay, next. Tolstoy had 13 kids and wrote War and Peace. Lance Armstrong had cancer and won the Tour de France 3 years and counting. I feel like with the Lance Armstrong reference and the two, what's the guy, the golfer? Here's my problem with the book. So the author describes not following your calling and says that's the reason that people need support for mental health issues, support for physical health issues. That's why they eat junk food and drink and do drugs and things. But then you get Tiger Woods, who seems to me to be following his dreams, to be doing his work, to be rocking it, and still using gratuitous coping mechanisms to deal with things. We see Whitney Houston, who was brought to this world to sing, in my opinion, and make music, and she followed her passion. She worked hard at it, and yet she had these coping mechanisms of whether they're alcohol or drugs. So we see these people who are doing their life's work and who are following their path and who are working their butts off, and yet they're still coping. And I feel like the author suggests that if you follow your work, you'll have no reason to have to cope, because you'll have no big problems left. And I give my argument in that people who do follow their life's work and who work really, really hard still have problems, and they still need support and help, and they still cope. And I disagree. I think that's overgeneralizing, overstepping what you can really say given the lack of empirical evidence you provide. Okay, moving on. Now on page 3. All right, we're on page 4 of 18 of my annotations. Oh, there's a thing I liked. The physical struggle. This is when he talks about what a writer's day feels like, and I like this part actually. The sun isn't up yet. It's cold. The fields are sopping. Brambles scratch my ankles. Branches snap back in my face. The hill is a son of a bitch, but what can you do? Set one foot in front of the other and keep climbing. I like that actually, meaning to say that if you sit down and write, it's not going to be easy at first. It's gonna suck. First, it's gonna suck. And you have to be okay with that. Not okay with it, but you have to, that's to be expected, and that's okay. And if it's sucking, that's okay, and it doesn't mean that you suck and that you don't know enough or know what you're doing. But it means that you're getting into the swing of things and it's normal and you're warming up. Yeah, I like that. I think that was probably one of my favorite parts of the book, actually. It's pretty encouraging. It's over-glorification of and preoccupation with mystery. I freaking love the mystery. That's the best part about doing what we do. What I do, which is research, and I think that's the best part about it. We don't know stuff about people, and we're learning stuff about people, and that's super cool, and there's no way we can ever know all the things about people. But the fact that there's so much to know and so much to gain from learning it, I mean, I feel like that's the mystery, and I think that's the best part, and that's like the whole. I have too many things to say. But if you find you are distracted, it's possible to get back. Don't just give up because you got distracted one time. That's like Hannah giving up on making an episode of My Drunk Kitchen if she forgot to check if there was cheese to go in the grilled cheese sandwich. She didn't. She got distracted. What's going on? I'll just keep going, you know? You get back at it. Get back at it. I feel like at the end especially, the author's like explains that you shouldn't write for your audience, you should write for yourself. Now, I think that's great, except for when you're writing a self-help book. At this point, you might want to consider your audience. Just a little bit. So it's not about everything else. It's about self-discipline and how you handle yourself. Well, if that's not the loneliest sounding thing and the most terrifying, immense amounts of pressure on my shoulders thing right now, oh my god. It's up to me handling my brain and my thoughts. And that is terrifying. And that's not... It's kind of what I was expecting to hear. But I was hoping to get some help with handling this. The professional blows critics off. You know what might be good? Sometimes listening to criticisms, because they could be valuable. They could tell you things that you need to hear, and that might improve your writing. At one point, he's saying, once people start doing what they're meant to do and following their dreams, then their cancer goes into remission. Are you saying it is people's fault that they get cancer? Oh, fear, right. So fear. He doesn't try and help us overcome our fears.